Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine. But the carnal mind is foolish, obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me, just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out.
Yo, good afternoon, my dear friends and family. This is 509 Divine Pines Podcast with Joseph Daniel Pena, your host with the most. Thank you for joining in. Click like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends and your dog, roll a joint and get your bong. And tell your homies to join along. Now, what we got today is some news. As you guys see, I got the camera facing now in front of me, and literally because of these braces on my teeth, I'm able to actually feel comfortable talking proper, and like I was just not comfortable in my own skin over the last few years of this dental procedure. I mean, I had three teeth taken out, actually 3 teeth taken out in the last 2 years, and it's having a whole bunch of issues on my jaw. And my teeth and all that, right? It's causing a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I'm fixing it. My braces are nice, and I feel much better, happier, more alive. You know, even my posture is more upright now because I'm not really, having that issue. And, that cost me a pretty penny, almost $2,000. I need you guys to go ahead and help and donate. I would not be able to do this without you. I thank you guys for everything you have gave to me and said to me, showed me support in all sorts of ways. I love you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Now, check this out. First and foremost, go check out my sponsors, Divine Light Codes with Sherry Ariano for elixirs to help you feel better, charms and pendants to keep your aura proper. She also does spiritual work through therapy sessions that can help you get back to your true self if you're just feeling blue. Use coupon code 509 Divine Pines for 10% off all your good needs with her. She is going to keep you spiritual and shining. Also, go check out heartandsoilproject.com for cannabis seeds. Spring is popping up right now, and you want to have the best genetics. Brett Anderson from Colorado has the best thing popping, man. He got soil nutrients, fertilizer, all that good stuff coming through. He has hemp apparel, man. This guy's moving, keeping things fresh. Hey, you guys go check him out. Tell him I sent you. Use coupon code 509 Divine Pines for 20% off your order with everything there. And also, Natural Action Tech has upgraded all of you guys to a 30% coupon code. Use coupon code 509DP-30 for 30% off your orders over at Natural Action Tech for water mineralization drops, water ionizers that are portable and on the go, and you will feel better than ever. I have been using them, and it is amazing. My life is now vibrant. Everything is shining. And, oh, man, what I got in store for the future, I am going to be looking like Arnold, buddy. Yeah, big boy. I ain't gonna be taking no roids. I'm just going to be ripped and shredded, guys. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for joining along. Now let's get to the news. All right, so here we go. You know, I'm a huge supporter in 509 Divine Pines of cannabis. Yes, cannabis, medical, recreational, whatever you need, we got it. Cannabis is the thing. It's literally the best plant on earth, in my opinion, and there's multiple reasons. The reasons that High Times is pointing out right here through Arizona advancements in their bill to make medical cannabis available to patients with PTSD, autism, and more. Look, I've been saying that cannabis can help out neurochemistry inside all of us. It can help out your kids. We see all these kids, they're PTSD, addicted to their phones. They're also not even able to have long attention spans, bigger conversations, wider spectrum of vocabulary, emotions, you know, very fragile. You know, I mean, considering all these GMOs over the last 70, 80 years, you know, we've been seeing a rise in autism also and cancers, right? And so cannabis heals all of this. Cannabis activates your CBD system, and when you activate your CBD system, you heal your body. And Arizona knows this, right? All of these companies and big colleges, these states around Washington, DC, you know, they're all going in like 100% on cannabis, and I love it because now you don't have to see your friends addicted or hurting or, you know, struggling with their weight or mental capabilities, right? You can see everybody healed. Look, a family on cannabis is a family in bliss. You'll bet that. Family on coke and alcohol, they're going to be fighting all day and all night. You know, that's just the way it goes. A bill would expand the list of qualifying conditions for medical cannabis and lower the cost of treatment, which was approved by lawmakers in Arizona. It was approved by a 7-2 vote. That's a huge swing, you know, and it's not even close. They're like, let's do this thing. So, the bill, including major points, which is reduction of medical marijuana cards costing $50 with renewal every 2 years. 100% waiver of medical marijuana card costs to veterans, adding post-traumatic stress disorder into statute, adds autism spectrum disorder in a debilitating medical condition, alignment of advertising, packaging, and branding to match the rules in smart and safe, requires protection for children in child-resistant packaging, prohibits advertising attractive to children, adds advertising restrictions, alignment of definition of marijuana and marijuana products. Codifying the use of telehealth, updating the details of the requirements in the QR code and trace trackability, providing a unified cover sheet for COAs to simplify consumer patient experience, removes a government-led lab testing council and replaces with a full public forum. So, what I see with this is a win. Literally, there's nothing that's bad here. Protection against the packaging for children. Yeah, have you seen a lot of these packaging going out in the streets or even the dispensaries? They're like literally looking like child's candies, and I'm not a fan of that because, you know, that's not cool to just have these packages, you know, looking like children's products. You know, you gotta at least have it very adultish, professional, secure, you know, in metal cans, you know, secure tight lock or whatever. Yeah, a lot of these just, that's good. Right. Let's move forward. Oh, wait. Right before I move forward, it says ADA supports SB 1466, which gives veterans the ability to acquire a medical marijuana card at no cost. Yeah, I want to move to Arizona now. I'm a veteran, so I can get a medical marijuana card at no cost. I mean, I don't have PTSD or insomnia, but that doesn't matter. I have, you know, like, I could just say chronic pain or anxiety, right? A free medical marijuana card gives veteran patients access to medical cannabis treatment for any of the common conditions like PTSD, insomnia, heightened anxiety, and chronic pain. The ADA's primary mission is to promote and advocate for a safe, consumer-focused cannabis industry in Arizona. We aim to continuously educate consumers on the importance of visiting only licensed dispensaries and consuming only THC and CBD products that have been lab tested and approved. I'm 50-50 on that because I know sometimes the streets can have better, healthier products than the dispensaries, but we'll get there eventually where the dispensaries will keep on par with proper health and etiquette. They're doing it their way, right? They're still using GMOs and they're still using all this other shit. But it's good that we are, as a nation, showing the positive side of this plant. Moving forward from from Forbes. Apologies. From Forbes, move over tribal casinos. Cannabis dispensaries are Indian country's new expanding enterprise. According to the historians, the Shinnecock Indian Nation has lived on eastern Long Island for 10,000 years. Rather a long residency than the residents of the surrounding uber-wealthy Hamptons. Longevity can provide little leverage of the tribe's leaders in recent years as they tried and failed to establish a gambling casino or near their 1,000 tribal territory, located mainly on the Neck Peninsula of Southampton, New York. Now, a newer project by the near 1,600 member tribe, half of whom live on the Neck, is meeting for far less resistance from the neighbors. The region's first adult-use cannabis dispensary, owned and ran by the tribe. The 5,000 square foot Little Beach Harvest retail outlet, located just off the heavily trafficked Sunrise Highway, is slated to open in May, and assuming that the tribe's own regulatory division approves, will offer full adult-use cannabis products together with the medical cannabis ones already sold elsewhere locally. Ooh, this is big news. I love this. I'm around a reservation, and I hear a lot of talks that, alcohol and drugs are a huge problem. And, if we can just get cannabis everywhere, that's good. Yes, super good. Leading the effort are two women, Shanae Bullock, a tribal member, and the project's managing director and Denver-based Amy Larson, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Tilt Holdings, a cannabis brand building consultancy advising the tribe. So, given that March is Women's History Month, this is a huge win for women and cannabis and women's cannabis advocacy rights. This is the type of women I want to meet. Sheesh. I want to meet some type of woman who stands up for what she believes in. God bless this girl, these women. We are living in a time where it requires nurture and matriarchal energy to heal the world, and through cannabis. Because what we use from cannabis is the female plant anyways. To never lose sight of the part of business is important. So I would say to any men that it's important to recognize that female energy and us being on the project is amazing. I agree. 100% shout out to all you women out there who think for these type of subjects. And hey, Ghetto Bedroom Records, what's up? Thank you in the chat for hopping here. Yeah. The tribal name is, let's see, the Shinnecock Indian Nation in the southeastern Hamptons of New York. So far, the state's Office of Cannabis Management has granted 66 adult use licenses, with 5 already operating in New York City, Ithaca, and Binghamton, and none of them on Long Island. In a few weeks, those 5 will be joined by many more. New York is going to thrive with cannabis. God bless the Big Apple. And we are moving forward. The Czech Republic Cannabis Magazine editor-in-chief found guilty for publishing weed content. Yeah, you heard that. They are so jealous. They are so slimy over there. A recent court verdict found a Czech Republic cannabis magazine publisher guilty of inciting the abuse of addictive substances and spreading drug addiction through his magazine. Come on, get with the times. Addictive substances, we already know now because of all the research and money being poured into it that cannabis is a medicinal plant. Science says it, man. You can't go ahead and stop the science, right? Or, trust the science. No, I mean, in all reality, though, this is the good side of science. So, yeah. Robert Veverka is the chief editor and publishing of a Czech Republic publication called Legalizace, which has been publishing since 2010. According to Boltface, it often contained content related to how to obtain cannabis illegally. Well, maybe that's fucking why. Wow. Yeah. How to grow the plant and how to process it and use it. It would also occasionally contain seed packets, as sale and possession of cannabis seeds is legal, as well as advertisements for fertilization and seed banks. Well, that's not a problem, but going and saying, hey, yeah, this is where you obtain cannabis illegally, that may be a problem. It began 5 years ago when a local Czech grower was caught growing 38 cannabis plants using seeds contained in Legalizace. Although the grower intended to use cannabis to make a topical cream for himself, law enforcement began to look more closely at the Veverka and his magazine. Veverka was taken into court starting in summer 2020. By November 2021, the District Court of Bruntal fined Veverka 50,000 Czech koruna, which equates to about $2,000 in U.S. money. According to presiding judge Marek Stak, Veverka was guilty of producing more than 200 articles published between 2010 and 2020. Wow, they went back for 10 years. These assholes. It's cannabis, man. They're leaving all the cocaine dealers, meth dealers, sex traffickers alone. They're going after these guys over in the Czech Republic. Do not move to Czech Republic. Move to Arizona. Stash added that even one single article with the potential of inciting readers is enough for Legalizace magazine to constitute the crime of inciting and promoting toxomania. Oh, Lord. Veverka chose to appeal the initial rule, claiming that he was sentenced under a rubber law. It was very flexible, including a paragraph that says the promotion of illegal substances, with the exception of alcohol, can be considered a crime. Most recently, in March, Veverka was convicted in a regional court in Ostrava, the third largest city in the Czech Republic, for inciting the abuse of addictive substances and spreading the drug addiction through his magazine. Wow. So this is continuing on the courts, and as we hear more, I will feed it back to you. Now, man, this is interesting, right? I've never heard about anything like this yet. I mean, this is the first time ever. So, from MSN, 4 hours ago, Bay Area cannabis grows linked to Chinese organized crime. Yeah, when I say I never heard of this before, it was a lie. Organized crime loves cannabis. We know the cartel does it. The American government, the mafia, and the mob. I'm pretty sure every type of organized crime is getting their hands in cannabis right now. The California Department of Cannabis Control has reason to believe Chinese triads has been participating in illegal cannabis cultivation for several years in Northern California. Sheesh! Hafner declined to provide more details about the connection between Chinese organized crime groups and illegal cannabis grows in California. A recent Politico story found that Chinese involvement in American cannabis cultivation has recently grown. Law enforcement in Oklahoma told Politico that 75% of the legal pot farms they've shut down are connected to Chinese investors and Chinese organized crime. Hafner confirmed that the DCC believes that Antioch cannabis growing operation raided in December, when 4 homes were found with more than 16,000 illegal pot plants worth estimated $14 million, is linked to China. Chinese workers have been long found at illegal cannabis grows in the United States from Oklahoma to California, although many of these people appear to be victims of human trafficking. Oh shit. So this is bigger than we think. These workers are often forced to live in dangerous conditions and make very little money. According to an investigation by Searchlight New Mexico, the DCC has increased its effort to shut down the illegal cannabis markets in California. In 2022, the agency led operations that eradicated more than 2,600 or 260,000 plants, more than 10 times the 19,000 plants eradicated in 2021. One of the largest recent raids occurred in January at an Oakland warehouse where law enforcement found multiple firearms and more than 30,000 marijuana plants. I'm going to put my 2 cents in this. I heard from Mexican informants and Mexican cartel members. There's a lot of people coming out online. If you look on podcasts, they'll talk, and they're saying right now that one of the major problems in China that a lot of people don't like is the influx of Chinese influence and Chinese cartel and Chinese operations trying to push fentanyl and push super dark organized crime, right? And, some of the people in Mexico and some of the cartel and some of the members, they don't like it. I imagine, let's just say hypothetically, that, in the last few years, if the Mexicans and Chinese were not getting along, well, guess what? The Chinese are going to get pushed out of America through the Mexicans. The Mexicans are going to be like, hey, we don't like this shit. All, not to group them all in one, but they're probably all stem from the same organized crime units, triads, and shit, right? So, yeah, I'm just thinking that maybe, as I said, in New Mexico, right? That's a big Mexican population. If there were any links, because at the highest levels, we probably understand that some of the cartel heads and some of the organized crime heads do talk. They don't always see in violence, right? Sometimes they see eye to eye, meet up together to take out a bigger problem. And if China's the bigger problem, hypothetically, in the drug drug trafficking market and shit. That's the way I see it. I'm hoping though, over the next few years, we start seeing fentanyl get called out, more in the streets, and to have it cleared completely, and figure out who's behind it all and shit. Yep. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. High Times. U.S. conservative group calls for Prince Harry to be deported over past drug use. Prince Harry's visa status is up for debate after he admitted taking pot, shrooms, and other drugs. So what? Half of the world is taking pot, shrooms, and other drugs. Come on now. The world used to be ran on drugs. Actually, if you look back in the pharmaceuticals stores and the grocery stores and all the stores around the world about 150 years ago, guess what you can find? You can find cannabis products galore, mushroom products galore, morphine products galore, heroin products galore, cannabis products galore. Pretty sure shit like ayahuasca and DMT and all that. Drugs were a popular thing. And then, as we've been proven many times over throughout this podcast and, on our own research, drugs are medicine. Now, just to go ahead and have them deported over drugs, that's what these U.S. conservative groups want to go ahead and tackle, I guess, right? It's so bad. It's childish, nearly. They don't want medicine for anyone. They don't want anybody to think outside the box. I'm not even a fan of Prince Harry. Let's just say I'm just a fan of pot and shrooms. Moving forward. Now, this is where we start getting for real, guys. Xi Jinping warns China is ready to stand guard over world order as he holds 4-hour Kremlin talk with the dear friend Putin, who says he is open to negotiations over Ukraine. Now, this is, presented as a journey of friendship, cooperation, and peace. Now, guys, we need to be aware of this. This is a huge thing. America may be stepping themselves in some mud or some quicksand that they cannot get out of. And we are fucking in America, guys, so we need to take note. Because, all right, I'm going to go ahead and show this. I don't want to go ahead and talk about all this and what they talked about, because we know, let's just say they're becoming more and more friendly since America wants to be so unwavering. Now, this is the annual threat assessment of the U.S. intelligence community that dropped last month from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And they, I guess, report this yearly. Now, I did already go ahead and cover the first few parts. Was it China? I believe I talked about China, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about Yes, I already covered China on my last broadcast, a couple days last week. It's in the news, probably like Thursday, Friday, something like that. Maybe Wednesday. Now we'll go ahead and talk about Russia. Now let's piece this together. So I'm going to read just the Russia part for now and break it down the best I can. Regional and global objectives and activities. Russia's unprovoked war of aggression against Ukraine is a tectonic event that is reshaping Russia's relationships with the West and China, and more broadly in ways that are unfolding and remain highly uncertain. Escalation of the conflict to a military confrontation between Russia and the West carries great risk, which the world has not faced in decades. Moscow will remain a formidable and less predictable challenge to the United States in key areas during the next decade, but will still face a range of constraints. Russia will continue to pursue its interests in competitive and sometimes confrontational and provocative ways, including by using military forces as it is against Ukraine and pressing to dominate other countries in the post-Soviet space to varying extents. So, they're saying Russia is a great risk to Ukraine for being unpredictable and unwavering, right? They're not going to let up. Russia probably does not want a direct military conflict with the U.S. and NATO forces, but there's potential for that to occur. Russian leaders thus far have avoided taking actions that would broaden the Ukraine conflict beyond Ukraine's borders, but the risk for escalation remains significant. So they're saying that problems with U.S. and NATO are increasing, and it's like they're holding back, right? But they might not hold back anymore. There is a real potential for Russia's military failure in the war to hurt Russia's President Vladimir Putin's domestic standing and thereby trigger additional escalatory actions by Russia in an effort to win back public support. Heightened claims that the United States is using Ukraine as a proxy to weaken Russia, and that Ukraine's military successes are only a result of U.S. and NATO intervention, could presage further Russian escalation. Russia's officials have long believed that the United States is trying to undermine Russia, weaken Putin, and install Western-friendly regimes in the post-Soviet states and elsewhere, which they conclude gives Russia leeway to escalate or widen the war if it chooses. Moscow will continue to employ an array of tools to advance what it sees in its own interest and to try to undermine the interests of the United States and its allies. There are likely to be military security, malign influence, cyber and intelligence tools with Russia's economic and energy leverage, probably a declining asset. We expect Moscow to insert itself into crisis when we see its interests at stake. The anticipated costs of action are low. It sees an opportunity to capitalize on power vacuum, or as the case of use of force in Ukraine, it perceives an existence and threat in its neighborhood that can destabilize Putin's rule and endanger Russia's national security. Russia probably will continue to maintain its global military, intelligence, security, commercial, and energy footprint, although possibly in a reduced role, and build partnerships aimed at undermining U.S. influence and boosting its own. So, they are saying that there's a problem with Putin and Russia, but the bigger problem is Russia versus the West and Russia versus us. And that even though Russia may attack, there's still maybe issues with how they treat Putin. You know, maybe he gets targeted, called out. So there's a huge problem between Russia in itself and Russia with America. And Russia is going to use technologies and the most advanced technologies across all levels to win this war. In the Middle East and North Africa, Moscow will continue to use its involvement and the activities of the private security company Wagner in the Central African Republic, Libya, Mali, and Syria to increase its influence, try to undercut U.S. leadership, present itself as an indispensable mediator and security partner, and gain military access rights and economic opportunities. Moscow's ties to Tehran probably will improve politically and economically as both countries seek to circumvent sanctions and advance close bilateral economic and defense cooperation. So they're saying Russia is seeking to further its enterprise across many nations, and they are doing so right now. In the Western Hemisphere, Moscow will seek to maintain its influence by continuing its diplomatic overtures and economic engagements, mostly with the countries that see it as key players or close partners, including Argentina, Brazil, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. So South America is huge partners with Russia. I had no idea. In the post-Soviet states, Moscow is less capable of intervening with Belarus, Central Asia, and the South Caucasus than it was in 2020 in Belarus and in 2022 in Kazakhstan. In both cases, to prevent expressions of popular dissatisfaction with the government from leading its regime change. Russia's deployment of much of its ground forces and associated security personnel in Ukraine this past year probably has reduced the likelihood of Russian military intervention in other post-Soviet states. So it's saying Russia is a little bit thin on its outside posts. It has all of its attention on Ukraine right now. China and Russia will maintain their strategic ties driven by their shared threat perception of the United States, which create potential threats in areas such as security collaboration, specifically arms sales and joint exercises, and diplomacy, where each country has used its veto power on the United Nations Security Council against the United States' interests. Russia will continue to use energy as a foreign policy tool to try to coerce cooperation and weaken Western unity on Ukraine, although sanctions resulting from the war are reshaping Russian energy relationships in both predictable and unpredictable ways. Russia's state-owned exporter Gazprom cut off gas to a number of European countries after they supported sanctions on Russia, contributing to soaring natural gas prices. Likewise, Russia has used food as a weapon by blocking or seizing Ukrainian ports, destroying grain infrastructure, and occupying large swaths of agricultural land, thereby disrupting the yield and displacing workers and stealing grain for eventual export. These actions exacerbated global food shortages and prices increased. Russia has used its capabilities in COVID-19 vaccine deployment and nuclear power export industry as foreign policy tools. Russia plays upon corruption in other countries to help advance its foreign policy goals and by influence. However, widespread corruption within Russia itself represents a long-term domestic vulnerability as well as a drag on Russian economic performance and the ability to attract investment. Russia has used corruption to help develop networks of patronage in countries including Belarus and Ukraine to try to influence decision-making and help carry out Russian foreign policy objectives. Russia regularly identifies corruption as one of the country's biggest problems, which has been a securent cause of public protests and a key theme of opposition figure Alexei Navalny, who remains imprisoned. Even if the international sanctions were eased or lifted, Russia probably would need to reduce corruption and state control of the economy and improve the rule of law to attract investment and expand economic growth. So they are using power and energy and food to try to help their country, whereas in America it's kind of the opposite. America just totally destabilized themselves because of the foreign democratic national communist influence from China and shit, and other places. Yeah, America is not like Russia. Russia, I guess, sees that they need to protect their food and energy. Now, guys, I want you guys to like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends and family. I am going to be right back with a quick break. I need to check on my dog, so you guys hold right on.
Not new, what I do. I've been at it for a minute, pursuing doing the damage. New, I would do everything that I said I would do. I gotta have it, so goddamn it, I'ma be everything I plan to be. Glad to see money coming my way, believe I'll achieve anything I put my mind to, or at least I try to. I'm avoiding my doom, manifesting my room. Meditate to ease the flow, third eye open, see the golden energy. It can enter me, get me to feeling full, forget my enemies. Dead to me, yeah, I proceed to go to a new dimension. Gotta mention it's inside our soul. Go inside, fuck the outside. Never tell lies, show pride for belief. Gotta keep the range wide, so instead I just write another hit. Getting fried, rolling up, smoke another blunt for the good times. Good times, bad times makes for the good rhymes. So it never matters, I just learned, no I can't hide. Thank God for every second was birthed with the mind of an ancient soul who's just waiting for the next sign. I'm always watching, vision like a hawk, have 'em flocking. When I drop it, I'm talking, have 'em knocking. The knowledge that I'm dropping, I'm coming out the noggin, I'm logged in. That's the intuition, nothing wrong with doing what you feel is right. Everybody got this. Usually feel it in the night when I'm dropping knowledge. I never even needed any college, abolish. People telling people what they want, I do not wish control over anybody, do it for the profit. That's the reason that they push it, do it from the cockpit. Cause they got the money, want the money on the mob shit. On the mob shit. But I know they ain't gon' make it, shit is poppin'. At the end of time, new age topics. Revolutionary crusade cross, here we go to a new space. Yeah, we enter in a new place. Louis V on my shoelace, rolling with the blue face. Yeah, I'm wondering what you chase. Just another dude caught up in the rat race. Moving my pace, lot of people looking at me sideways. I chase future preparations, gotta go through my face till I feel ready to rearrange it. Happen on a daily basis, tripping oasis. When so many people that I can see through their faces and touch, so I'm reading minds, feel like I'm evasive, persuasive. Cause I feel the vibe, manipulation, I'm patient. Yeah, I feel the vibe, then work to change it. Manifestation, blessings is what I'm chasing. Quantum physics, I'm about to take the time and rearrange it. I play with reality, can't feel like I'm basic. Most people shut it down, don't wanna embrace it. Replacing knowledge.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you for sticking tuned to the Bob and I, the Bob Pines podcast. Now, we are going to continue forward. Sweden approves bill to allow country to join NATO. U.S. says China is watching West's response to Russia as it happened. So, Sweden wants to join NATO because they don't feel safe anymore. And Finland also joined NATO. Well, Sweden and Finland both applied to join NATO last year. And so I guess more people are going to be on NATO's side, which is not good. NATO is the devil. They are the devil. The process has been held up by Turkey, which, along with Hungary, has yet to ratify the membership. Sweden, in particular, has faced objections from Turkey, which says Stockholm harbor members of what Turkey considers terrorist groups. Oh, shit. So Turkey and Sweden are having issues. And Turkey's a major point right now, too. They just had that problem with NATO itself. We are going to move forward, guys, not get lost in politics too much. We just got to brush up on it. Now, we're going to calm down and cool out a little bit. Get ourselves situated proper on some cool news. Africa is splitting into two as new ocean forms, researchers say. Interesting. Look at this. This is in Maui, or Mai Mahui, in a Rift Valley town. And, yeah, we see crevices and we see new Earth splitting. The findings are based on a 2004 study of the separation of the Somalian tectonic plate and larger Nubian tectonic plate. So that is what is splitting. Currently landlocked countries in Africa, such as Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, will see the introduction of a coastline, expanding possibilities for trade and production. Yeah, so if, like, Africa gets split into two, then water and trade will become more, because right in the center of Africa. It's a dry land, right? Desert. And this desert, there's also no rivers, no trade. So it could probably just be good. Cool. Bravo. Next up, guys. We keep this rolling here. Coca-Cola bottler makes first change in its aluminum can history. I might have covered this, but we're just going to brush by it. So they showed the picture, but I guess they took it off. Pretty much the Coca-Cola minis are going to start using paper instead of plastic on the rings. Now, let's get on to some better news. Insider paper. Celebrities Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul charged for touting crypto. You know, just like Stephen Curry linking up with Sam Bankman-Friedman and all that shit. You know, all these celebrities are probably manipulating the market. You know, no doubt about it. Just like the billionaires and trillionaires. So there's no difference. It's the celebrities are doing it because their advisors and their handlers and their money funders and their parents, their aunts, uncles, and secret society members are all doing it. So what I see from this though is that Jake Paul and Lindsay Lohan are on the shit list, and they're not welcome in, you know, maybe the Midnight Club, the Midnight Marauder Club, you know, with the blood and sacrifice and stuff. So, because, you know, this is a little bit of money, 40,000 or 100,000. If these dudes were in those dark secret society clubs, you would imagine that this shit would just be covered up. We wouldn't even be hearing this news. But because we're hearing this news, we're probably seeing that they're not, playing ball anymore, right? So it also says pornographic film actress Michelle Mason, also known as Kendra Lust, rapper Lil Yachty, or Miles Park McCollum, singer Neo, or Schaefer Smith, and Akon, or Alain Theom. I don't know how to spell or say Akon's name, but they were all part of the lawsuit and settled and agreed. Rapper Soulja Boy, or DeAndre Cortez Way, and YouTube singer Austin Mahone were not part of the settlement. I don't even know why that was mentioned. I'll be honest, sometimes these articles are written so stupid. Now, this is something that is interesting. We see this all the time. Bigwigs and their loved ones or their partners or their friends getting killed. The death of Peter Thiel's kept romantic partner is being investigated as a suicide. Miami police told the interview that Thiel was a part of a probe into the sudden death of Jeff Thomas, a model and social media influencer. Jeff Thomas, a model and social media influencer who was recently in a long-term relationship with Peter Thiel, said he spent much of his time with the tech mogul working to persuade him away from his increasingly aggressive pursuit of a culture war. So he was trying to help Peter Thiel out. He was actually like literally trying to calm him down, cool him out, and not be a fucking egotistical narcissist. And it says right here, I don't side with him on a lot of political things, and I understand him though. I'm trying to influence him in ways to show him my heart and show him how it affects myself, certain individuals, himself. Thomas said that he felt like he made strides with Thiel through his effort, and though it was cut short earlier this month of March 8th when he died tragically. You know, that's like Ellen DeGeneres syndrome. That's so messed up. That's so messed up. Thomas had met Thiel back in 2015 or 2016 at Coachella. He told me when Thiel threw one of his legendary partners, I was wondering why he was being affiliated with someone like Trump and investing in him. If he's gay, Thomas said, but his own father was a Republican, Thomas said, and grew up in Texas, so he felt that he knew how to reach people who thought differently. In 2017, Theo married Matt Dainson. Thomas and Theo eventually struck a relationship in the pandemic, but it wasn't a typical relationship. Thomas described himself in a kept situation that made him feel uncomfortable. So he was just being put in the closet, and then he got killed. Wow. If I'm going to give up the relationships I have and give up my dreams right now during COVID or dating other guys, then I'm going to get a $300,000 car or $13 million home. So he, gave up his dignity in life, and, just to be with Theo in a home and a nice car, sugar daddy type shit. Don't ever sell your love and heart out for money. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I haven't met a woman that wants me for my money only, and I don't really play with that shit. I make sure that if I'm talking with a girl on a real level, relationship level, right? Like serious, then it's for the right reasons and not because they're interested in the flashy shit. So, several of Thomas's friends in Los Angeles said they saw Theo at Thomas's house and also saw Thomas at Theo's nearby home. Unrelatedly, before Thomas moved in, the home was owned by leading figures in a bizarre NXIVM sect cult that was rolled up in 2021, says the property record. So, holy shit, this does get a little weird, guys. I've gone on to a little bit of conspiracies in this so far. You can bet your ass off that whatever was happening right there in that house stayed there in that house, and Theo and Thomas were part of it. Remember, just a couple of years ago, those huge stories about Playboy Mansion and them remodeling and the underground tunnels that were linked to all sorts of other houses. And what they were doing there, who even knows? Now, we're not going to stay on this. Moving forward, new maps reveal details about the size and shape of Earth's lost eighth continent, Zealandia. I covered this yesterday with Jonathan Boots, John B. Now, yeah, look at this, guys. Scientists confirmed the existence of an eighth continent called Zealandia under New Zealand and the surrounding ocean in 2017. So, here's New Zealand, but just underneath it is a whole bunch of, land. Yeah, I guess, right? Which is cool. Because, imaginably here in 100 years or so, if the Earth is still around, we're still around, this might rise and become a new continent. Who knows? If Africa can split into two, maybe New Zealand can become its own continent. As they say it is already. About 3,500 feet under the South Pacific waves is the eighth continent named Zealandia. Cool. We're going to continue forward, though. All right, guys. Check this out. Dr. Arne Burkhardt confirms sperm has almost entirely been replaced by spike proteins. All right, this is a video, so we're going to watch this. Give me a sec as I load this up. What I want you guys to do is go visit boomerboost.com and check out all the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and supplements you need. They have a brand new hair, skin, nails pack that will kick you off glowing for summer. Normally, it'll cost you around $160, but this deal is going hot at $90, and with my coupon code, you can drop it down to $60. So, $150 bundle for $60. Use coupon code Joe30 and thank me later for all the best nutrients, vitamins, supplements over at boomerboost.com. And yes, guys, we are back. So, right here, Dr. Arne Burkhardt. Let's watch this 2-minute video.
we could confirm that the spike protein is produced in the deltoid muscles where the vaccine is administered, injected. But we could show it in almost all organs, more or less explicitly. And here you see a case where we show the testes. And you can see that in this 28-year-old man who had a healthy son and who died 140 days after injection, the spike protein is strongly expressed in the spermatogenic organ in the testis. And you can see there are almost no spermatocytes in here, but it's strongly expression of spike protein in the spermatogenic tissue. So also in elder persons, this is an old man, and you can see here's also a strong expression in the spermatogonia. There's not one single spermatozoon in this, and a strong expression of the spike protein. So if I may make a personal comment, this is not a scientific comment. If I were a woman in fertile age, I would not plan a motherhood from a man who has been vaccinated.
Man, oh man. And you see around the world, fertility rates dropping so much. People are having problems having kids. And also, this is an issue. From 2015, the rates of thyroid cancer tripled since 1975. Public water utilities continue to poison us with water fluoridation. Yeah, this is interesting. A study published last year attempted to explain away the thyroid cancer epidemic in the U.S. today. The incidence of thyroid cancer is an epidemic proportions, but it doesn't look like an epidemic of disease. It looks like an epidemic of diagnosis. This means a lot of people are having their thyroids removed for a cancer that was never going to bother them. So misdiagnosis, man, they're fucking taking organs out of people on a lot of misdiagnosed things. You know, a lot of this stuff can be healed too. Like a lot of our internal organs can be healed from CBD and stuff. Man. But what about the fluoride connection? Sure, some folks are being misdiagnosed, but it's not only misdiagnosis is primary responsibility. A study published showed that fluoride ingestion is directly associated with underactive thyroid or hyperthyroidism. And it raises the questions about the safety of community fluoridation. Ooh, the water fluoridation rates of 0.3 parts per million, an amount far lower than what the average municipal utility of the U.S. dumps into the water. Researchers determined that areas are far much worse off in the cancer department when they don't care about if our health, right? So if they fluoridate it, all these cancer rates and issues are increased, right? So they're looking at different municipalities with their water. Fluoridated public cities and non-fluoridated public cities. The non-public fluoridated cities are healthier. They don't have the hyperthyroidism. Very interesting. You know, even bone cancer, tumor cells, all that. Next up, guys. Alien ship lurking in our solar system could be watching us with tiny probes, Pentagon officials say. Yes, the disclosure is here, but it's more than that, guys. I think it's more of a revealing by nature itself. Like, we as a human race have came to an evolution through the internet, through constant meditation and just the natural evolution, and we cannot deny the things before our own eyes anymore. We are seeing things everywhere. Everybody is witnessing UFOs, crafts, entities, spirits, ghosts, Bigfoots, dogmen, cryptids. I mean, people never really stop seeing fairies, right? So it's just part of nature. And the more that humanity can come to nature, you know, like the truth about the world or cannabis or anything, any way of nature, the better it gets. I don't know if they're calling this good or bad. I don't know if this is a friend, ally, foe, enemy. What is this? But this is something to be aware of. I mean, I'm not really sure if it's Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is a operation by the U.S. government in which they want to fake a alien visitation and a alien attack or alien sightings through technology, through satellites and drones and through light shows, which we see in, you know, a lot of these big sports openings, you know, and in China and Japan and America, firework places, people are now using drones or making 3D holographic lights and 3D holographic images, and whales and dragons come out of thin air. And, you know, who knows what is going to happen over the next 5 years exactly, but we can bet it's a mix of both. I mean, imaginably, you know, I think maybe they will try to, the U.S. government will try to use a lot of defensive measures if there were type of threat or helpers coming from the sky. You know, these rulers here in America and the government would want to, put up the walls and try to block us from knowing the truth. You know, try to just say it's a threat when it's not, or they'll say it's not there if they are like truly friendly, right? So a lot of times, you know, they've been saying, they're just not there, you guys are crazy. So I mean, they're just revealing it's mothership, but they're still not even saying whether it's ally or foe, probably because it's not an ally to them. It's an ally to us, but it's a foe to them. You know what I'm saying? We're going to continue forward. Millionaire and billionaire CEOs say thousands of laid-off tech staff just did fake work. So, remember the CIA and Twitter files that just came out like the last month? How the governments and a whole bunch of different agencies, Rockefeller institutions and, you know, private agencies were getting into apps and internet and companies just to be creating fake profiles. Like some people would be in charge of 10 fake profiles and they would constantly do things with them, right? So, hey, this is just admitting the same thing that happened with Twitter files. The CEOs are like, well, you know, a lot of our workers are just doing fake, nefarious shit anyways. Lay them all off. Hey, this is good. This matches exactly what Twitter files dropped last month. Now, check this out. FAA issues new safety guidance amid recent close calls at U.S. airports because of all the UFOs. So they call for reviewing of existing safety best practices and to be vigilant for hazards and risks. Like I said, the stuff that's happening in the sky all across the world is increasing at a rapid rate, and all of our governments are working on reanalyzing their programs and their procedures. And we should reanalyze what the F we're playing. Because I just found out Ubisoft is using AI to make its games. And I'm thinking that, I'm just going to guess, I bet that's been happening for a long time. And maybe maybe some of the movies and video games, and not all, maybe some. Maybe some of the stupid shit that we see is made by AI. Or maybe some of that super cool stuff is made by AI. Who knows? But we should just be aware, I guess, right? In the few days since OpenAI unveiled its GPT-4 model, people are claiming that GPT can develop games, and AI so advanced that it can program a game that is real, so real that it plays like science fiction or a far-off future. Nice. They are using AI right now to recreate classic games like Pong, Tetris, Snake. And they are using AI models to turn the Game Boy Advance game Pokemon Emerald into a text adventure. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I'll be honest. Here in a few years, yeah, we're going to start seeing these AIs create games in a minute. Pretty interesting. You can access ChatGPT for free in a browser, but the new GPT-4 model is available to paid subscribers at $20 a month. There's an input at the bottom of the website that you can enter your text. If you want ChatGPT to rewrite the ending of Game of Thrones and insert it, you can ask for it. But if you want it to explain the complex topic, you would also input it there. Poorly written article, but pretty cool. So GPT-4 can really, I guess, start writing reality. I'm seeing that right now. It can rewrite reality if people choose that type of lifestyle. Now we're going to go quick through these Twitter files right here. The Twitter news. JP Morgan Chase could be sued by Virgin Islands over Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking claims. Yeah. Virgin Islands doing the right part. They're like, yeah, we don't want this bougie, bourgeois, sex trafficking kitty shit. Next up, Bank of Indonesia to transition away from Visa, MasterCard. And they're like, yeah, we don't want these big wigs here. But that also creates a huge gap. So they better be ready to replace it. Or maybe they already are ready, and that's why they are replacing it. But this is good. Get away from these monsters all around the world. That's the easiest way to say it. From the Washington Times, check this out. Back don't work. Masks don't work. Everything we heard was wrong. Now it's from the Washington Times. Sheesh. But what I do see in all reality is a need for the mask for this stuff right here. More and more we've been seeing hazmat teams be deployed. I was in hazmat operations too, like 10 years ago. And I got out because I foresaw the future, and I was like, oh shit, this is about to get real serious. And I did not want to be part of these things. My life was at stake at that point. Like cancers, radiation poisoning. You're literally putting yourself in a death box. This is in Louisiana, Westlake. A shelter-in-place directive order was given after hazardous chemical clouds emanating from a biolab chemical plant was seen. Next up, the White House is disbanding its CV-19 team in May. Whoa. This is from the Washington Post. Hey, I wonder what's happening. Maybe the shift is now going to be on aliens. And this was yesterday. I did not report this because I was talking to John Butts. But breaking: grand jury investigating Donald Trump cancels meeting, delaying indictment. They're like, we don't want a part of this shit. No, none of this. We don't want to have our life put in danger. Like, I mean, things are going wild all around the world. Check this out, guys. A glowing UFO appears over Russia. Check this one. You can call it fake, or you can actually open your mind and realize this stuff could happen for millions of years all across the galaxy, all across the universe. And if you think we're all alone, you have a problem, son. Or girl, or daughter. You know what I mean? We're going to just let that play a couple times. What do you guys think that is, huh? I want to know what you guys' thoughts. Oh, is it? What's happening? I'm going to pause right there. What do you guys think that is in the chat? Crazy looking at UFO, Ghetto Badger Record says. What do you think that is, Gator Benjamin Records? That's a crazy looking thing right there, dude. We're just going to rewatch this for a minute. Check this out. I've never seen anything like this, but I have heard about stuff like this where crafts were opening up portals in the sky. And that's what it looks like. It looks like a portal is just opened. Like 3, 2, 1, right about now. Watch that. Right there. Look, is that the firmament that they're going through? Whoa, man. That's probably one of the best UFO videos I've ever seen. And I mean it. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, and this does not look fake. Wow. Hey, next up, guys. Binance employees are supporting people in China after it was banned. Man. So maybe some crypto markets are cool. Some crypto markets are good. I think Binance is a problem in China. Now, moving forward. Hey, we're going to cool down a little bit. Well, I'm gonna save the last article. Now, right here, check this out. Any hormonal birth control can slightly increase breast cancer risk from very well health. So, breast cancer can be caused by birth control. A lot of times we knew that these birth controls are causing major issues to women. It says progestin is a synthetic form of the human hormone, progesterone. Estrogen and progestin are used in contraceptives to thicken the cervical mucus and prevent the release of eggs from the ovaries. These hormones are also involved in the development of most breast cancers. So you play at your own risk. Women, take care of your body, please. Now, last article to wrap things up and to keep it cool. Super Mario manga suggests that one-up mushrooms are grown from bodies of dead Marios. What? The one-up mushroom is an essential part of any Mario game, a literal pick-me-up in a fungal form that guarantees you an extra chance to complete a level. Green mushrooms that add a touch of resurrection to a Mario Bros. Run. These power-ups are iconic and might harbor a dark secret that could rock Nintendo's mega popular franchise to its very core. Da-da-da. As noted by the Twitter account Super Mario Broth, a page from the Super Mario 64 manga all the way back in 1996 suggested that Mario was trapped in a grim cycle of eco-friendly life and death. Every Mario who died in the Mushroom Kingdom would eventually become one with dirt, their bodies feeding the soil and producing the one-up mushroom that the next Mario could consume. This probably explains why the single one-up in Mario 64 was almost impossible to collect. Yeah, we'll finish up with that. Check this out. A 1996 Super Mario 64 manga suggests that Mario was grown from the dead bodies of other Marios. Pretty interesting artwork if you look at it. I wonder what they like got that from. I mean, is it like the tree of life where they, we see the roots and the, or is this what is really happening in some secret societies and cultures where they're growing drugs on top of dead bodies? Because I do know that mushrooms can grow on top of decomposed shit, and it grows in places that are sometimes very nasty, and a dead body decomposing would be very nasty. I would imagine that. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about, but maybe, yeah, dead bodies can actually produce mushrooms. And if that's happening, I would think that it would also probably be super powerful mushrooms in a way. Like, I don't mean it like I want to try this. I do not want to try this. But what I'm saying though is if a mushroom were growing on a human and the human would eat the mushroom that was grown on a human, then that mushroom might connect with the human 50 times better and stronger, because it already has these natural type of chemical adaptations to a human, and they might feel more spiritual. They might get a more ethereal sense. They might connect with human in a different way. See human spirits, or I don't know. I mean, I'm only putting my 2 cents on this. What do you guys think in the chat? The Miguel Bedroom Record says, I wonder what Luigi's Mansion was about. Yeah, dude. Honestly, now I'm thinking about it, you're putting me on something. That was about spirits and ghosts this whole time. Wow, now that we think about it, right? A lot of Mario is about spirits and ghosts. When we look at the mushrooms, I mean, I do wonder if that's what they're referencing, the psychedelic part, because once we take mushrooms, we can actually probably, like, legitimately 100% of the time, if we know what we're doing and we take enough mushrooms, see spirits and shit. Like, if you take like one little cap, you're probably not going to see anything. But if you take like a handful of things, then you'll probably see something. And I bet that that's what all of this is about. Reaching the stars and the heavens and reaching your highest self. Before an existential crisis about the state of the Mario taking root, it's worth noting that this is just an interesting idea from the manga authors. This should be taken as joke and never anything that would be endorsed by Nintendo. Yeah, sure. Now we are going to check this out. Super Mario 64 Speedrunner collects impossible 1-up mushrooms 27 years after launch. Check this out. All right, guys, we're going to watch the rare 1-up mushroom. Whoa. It's like being the best. Oh, wow. I just got my balls. That is just hilarious. I'm kind of dizzy. What the fuck? Wow. I had no idea that was even in there, guys. That's pretty amazing because, like, I'll be honest, these video game developers are pretty tricky with their hints and tricks and their secrets. If you go and check out some of the best video game Easter eggs and secrets, you know, we'll just go ahead and do that for you guys. Might as well, right here.
Yeah, guys, like, subscribe, and share. And tell your friends. Smoke some weed while you're at it. Cheers, fellas. Long time. Alright, here we go. Top 10 weird Easter eggs in video games that took decades to find. A candid photo in Resident Evil 2. Sometimes an Easter egg is so obscure and pointless that it goes completely unnoticed, and the developers themselves have to nudge everyone in the right direction just to uncover it. And in Resident Evil 2, titled Research on Biohazard 2 Final Edition, there is a picture of Rebecca Chambers in a basketball outfit on Albert Wesker's desk. You just have to search Albert Wesker's desk 50 times and you'll find it. So, just stand there and search it 50 times, you're going to find Rebecca Chambers' secret basketball outfit. Now, in The Legend of Zelda, number 9, the secret room. This secret has become a commonplace by now, but it bears repeatedly simple for the fact that it became obscure thanks to the company that created it. Chris Houlihan won a Nintendo Power competition back in 1991 and was promised a spot in the official release of The Legend of Zelda. Chris would get his prize, but thanks to the runaround between debugging teams, the secret only ended up in the North American version and was closed off the boot. The room was finally discovered in 2002 via strange glitching and features a plaque and an abundance of blue rupees. So this is the room right here. Very interesting. I've never seen them for sure. Number 8, Unlock It All Metroid. Back when games were in their infancy, most cheats and save states were activated via passwords. A lot of games featured secrets that could be activated using codes, and there were even devices like the Game Genie that were dedicated to giving gamers. So, one of these secret codes was the Unlock It All with Metroid, pretty much giving you secret, you know. Right here it says Metroid was a different story. Apparently the traditional password system was impossible to crack, and code breakers were having no luck reverse engineering anything thanks to the security measures. The code was Narpa's sword O-0000000000000, and it gives Samus a multitude of items and health. Well, yeah, who the heck is gonna freaking type in that password, man? Of course. Number 7, Underground Duck Racing in Shenmue 2. I actually played this game. Wow. Shenmue 2 was an odd game in its own right. In fact, the series was developed by a cult following thanks to its strange Yakuza-like vibes and its titular action hero, Ryo Hazuki. But this particular Easter egg took all the lightheartedness out of Shenmue 2 and amped it up to an 11. By performing a series of odd tasks, including speaking to a particular set of NPCs, winning a street fight, and finding a bronze medal, Ryu would be able to engage in an underground duck race. Sick! What the heck is this now? Number 6, Poo Poo the Alien in Final Fantasy VIII. Whoa, Easter eggs becoming increasingly difficult to find when the scale of the game is as imposing in Final Fantasy VIII. Because the 4 discs of Final Fantasy VIII, yeah, of course, there was so much hours of gameplay in there, you would not be able to play it all. And it was filled to brim with side quests. No wonder Poo Poo the Alien was finally hunted down by someone recently, which first investigated a stack of inconspicuous magazines a few times, and something most gamers wouldn't do in the first place. After an arduous quest and tracking of a set of precise locations, you get to battle the little monster You can either slay him or turn him into a playing card. So weird. That is very weird. It's like a Pikmin or Lucario or something. Mortal Kombat 3 Arcade. There is a hidden diagnostics menu. Wow. It was difficult to locate. In order to unlock certain characters, play a minigame, and issue sound tests, players would have to enter a staggering 27-button code correctly. Sometimes multiple times in a row. The code is an obnoxious series of precise alternating presses of player 1 and player 2 block buttons. Now, number 4, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Watch the crowd. Few games go almost 30 years with undiscovered secrets, but that's what happened in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. If you find yourself struggling with two particular fighters, namely Bullet Bull and Piston Honda, you can actually knock each one of them out immediately if you pay close attention to the crowd. A bearded man on the left side of the row a bearded man on the left side of the front row will duck at the exact moment Little Mac needs to toss a punch. Doing so grants you automatic victory. Now, number 3, Duck Hunt, play as a duck. It was never really hidden to begin with. In fact, it was right there printed in the instruction booklet. The issue is, well, that people weren't scrambling to read the instructions. After all, it was simply a point at the game and shoot. Nevertheless, plugging your controller into the second port while you hold the zapper in the first port will allow a friend to control the duck. Oh, now this one's cool. Number 2, play as Master Hand Super Smash Bros. Melee. Some secrets can stay buried, as in the case with the Master Hand. Join the roster for Super Smash Bros. Melee. Unfortunately, the code is rather simple, or odd, and tricky, depending on how you look at it. Regardless, it's a hell it unleashes that leaves a bad taste in our mouth. Master Hand is every bit as annoying to fight outside of a boss battle. This is especially true when you have that one friend who loves spamming the most damaging moves. Yeah, Master Hand as a character is crazy. I think I played against my friend years back, and we had that. It was fun. Now, number 1, a rather pointless hidden quest from Final Fantasy IX. Like in its predecessor, Final Fantasy IX is chock full of content and side quests, and no one in particular went completely unnoticed for a long time. The quest in question is activated near the end game and has you traveling to 9 different locations just to speak to a group of NPCs, the Neuro Brothers. Your reward, a Protect Ring, which is pretty much pointless. I'm not really sure why they mentioned that as number 1. That was the weakest number 1 ever. But the other number 9 were cool. And with that, guys, I will check you guys out tomorrow. Smell you later. You guys have a great day. Be blessed and be high. Thank you guys for watching the 509 Divine Pies podcast. And until next time, stay blessed. Stay high. Peace. I love you.